Hello, everybody. This is Josh Sigmund with Legacy Mutual Mortgage, and this is your tip of the week. Thought I'd do something a little differently this week. I actually got an article sent to me by my buddy Gary Linville out of Fort Worth, Texas. He sent me an Inc. 500 article that was actually written by a guy named Jeff Hayden about the habits of highly successful people. I thought I'd share it with you. It's not about housing. It's not about buying or selling real estate. It's not just about lending or anything like that. And so I'm sending this to all my past clients, all my agents, because I think it's really an interesting way to look at, hey, in whatever you're doing, how can you be more successful? What are kind of those things that separate the people that are successful in whatever their endeavors are versus everybody else? And what the article suggests is that it really comes down to one word, the most successful people out there have just sheer grit, and the word is grit. So I wanted to define that for you real fast. Grit is defined in the article as the ability to work hard and respond resiliently to failure and adversity. It's the inner quality that enables individuals to work hard and stick out anything it takes to achieve their long-term passions and goals. And I love that idea because unfortunately I think that our society, America in general, has a lot of people that that aren't willing to do what it takes to be successful. A lot of people this day and age, they know what they're supposed to do, but there's not enough stick-to-itedness. And I really think that's a big problem. And so, what we're talking about here, guys, is just mental toughness. Whether it be that you need to work on saving more money. And here's the easiest way to save more money. Don't spend as much as you make, right? So it means saying no to that next happy hour that you probably should say no to anyways. Or if you know that all it would take to finish my college classes is just 5 more credit hours, but I really don't want to make the time to do that, even though that might help me get ahead of my next step. Whatever that is for you, we all know what we're supposed to do. We just sometimes don't have that mental edge or that mental drive to just get it done, right? So the article kind of goes on and talks about, what are some examples of things that show grit that successful people do and do consistently compared to those of us that sometimes falter, right? So one of the first things they talk about is they are good at delayed gratification. Really, really successful people realize that you're going to bleed a little bit, and you're going to be a little sore a little bit, and it's going to be rough and raw and challenging at times, but the end is worth what you have to go through right now. And in a society where we all need, it seems like, immediate gratification, no wonder there's a big disparity between the most successful people out there, whether it's the best teacher or the best fireman or the best financial planner, and then everybody else, because those people are willing to have delayed gratification. Number two, talks about they're really great at withstanding temptation, right? So if we know that what we're supposed to do is blank, and we're supposed to do that all day long to get ahead in our job or whatever, then we have to be able to say no, because whether you call it the devil's going to reach into your ear or whatever, we're always going to have that temptation. A great example is in real estate and lending and all sales as an example, we're supposed to make a lot of outbound phone calls. And so a lot of us in the industry have what's called a power hour, where for a whole hour dedicated every single day, we're supposed to reach out and touch new people. And that's all well and good in theory, but in actuality, even though we know that business grows as simply as just making 1 hour of phone calls a day, it's just hard. It's mentally tough to do that. And so when your text rings off and your best friend from college is ringing in saying, hey, buzz me, buddy, do you have the ability to withstand that temptation and not text them back or call them back and keep on doing what you know you're supposed to be doing to be successful? Or if you go out to a restaurant and you know that you've got a certain budget, do you pick the restaurants based on the budget that you've laid out for the month so that you do have savings at the end of the month, right? Third thing is successful people don't just prioritize, and I love this idea. They consistently keep doing what they have decided is most important. They consistently keep doing what they've decided is most important. And so I just love that idea that it's all between the ears. And that's why you always hear success is a choice. We choose to wake up and go do it and follow that relentlessly. And yes, we expect to be crushed, and we expect to mess up, and we expect to go backwards every once in a while. That's life, and we're people dealing with people, and so there's going to be problems. But successful people keep the initiative, keep doing consistently what they know they're supposed to be doing. right? So what are a few things that you can do to work on your mental toughness, right? So the article has a few. Actually, they have about 7. It's a great article, like I said, by Jeff Hayden in Inc. But I'm going to give you my top 3 of the 7 that I really think stand out. Number 1 is, no matter how, from an energy perspective, don't waste time thinking about or worrying about things that you can't control, right? Like I hear all the time, if I'm sitting at a coffee house just chatting, and there's a bunch of old dudes sitting around complaining about the government, but they're not voting, or they're complaining about whatever, but there's nothing they can do about it, right? And what I really believe is that don't spend that energy worrying about what you can't control. Start worrying about what you can control. And there's things that you can do, whether it's in business or at your office or whatever, to make change for the better. And if you're an employee, that's a very valuable thing, because if you're the one that institutes the change that improves the system, the structure, the client experience, or whatever, my gosh, you become a much more valuable employee, and hence you become more successful. So don't spend energy whining, winning, wasting away your time and energy on things you can't control. I love that idea. Number 2 is see the past as just a valuable training exercise and nothing more, right? Don't live in the past. Don't keep on talking about how good you once were, or the good old days, or my last boss was, or the old market. That does you no good. All you can do is look at what worked, what didn't work in the past, what worked, what didn't work at my old company, and then use that to leapfrog or to springboard to the next level wherever you are, right? And hopefully you do a better job of learning more off the mistakes of others than your own mistakes, because obviously from a leverage perspective, you're going to get further along. Last but not least, and probably one of my favorite ones here, count your blessings, count your blessings, count your blessings, right? Just read a great book. One of my clients, I actually just closed his loan 60 days ago. Guy's name is Donovan Campbell. Turns out he's a best-selling author. He wrote a book called Joker One, and I would totally recommend you read it. It's about a young story of a Marine, a platoon, and leadership. And this guy, when he graduates from college, graduates Ivy League, he has all the choice in the world. He decides that the best way to learn leadership is join the United States Marine Corps. Holy cow, how many of you guys, and myself included, are willing to do that jump, right? So he joins the Marine Corps, and he ends up leading 40 people into the Battle of Fallujah. And Battle of Fallujah is being ranked as one of the most deadly battles in the last decade. And it's been compared to some huge, nasty offensives back in World War II and Vietnam. You know, the casualty rate was stunning. Between 50 and 70% of any American that went in that battle was a casualty. Whether they were wounded or killed, it was a casualty. So how does a 23, 24-year-old kid lead 18 and 19-year-olds day after day doing the grind into battle when they know it's going to be a lot more poop today, just like it was yesterday, and it's just not a good situation? How do they have the mental toughness to pick it up, put the shoes on, put the backpack on, and go out and do it again, right? At the end of the day, most of us have jobs that require us to pick up the phone, make a few calls. Sometimes they're hard calls. And at the end of the day, go home and sleep in an AC'd house and kiss your kids goodnight at bed, right? So focus on counting your blessings. At the end of the day, most all of our careers, we're not making life and death decisions. It just wasn't that bad of a day. So if you can focus on the positives, your mental toughness gets better, because at the end of the day, we're focusing on those things that we can improve. We're spending energy on things that can make a difference and get better day after day. And I promise you, if you start using these kind of tactics in your business or your personal life, you will be more successful. Again, this is Josh Sigmund with Legacy Mutual Mortgage. This is your tip of the week. If you want to reach out to me, my email is josh@legacymutual.com, or you can call me at 210-492-4900. Have a blessed day. And I will figure out how to turn this camera off.